animals here as his kids are entering the promised land.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so his kids are entering the promised land, and let's see where in this process animals are involved. Now, you know when they go into the promised land, then there are some foods that God says, these are good. These are clean animals. You can eat these animals. These other animals, stay away from. They are unclean. In the Jewish culture, anything that is good to eat is called kosher. So there were some kosher foods, and then there were some foods that he said, stay away from. Even some bugs, some insects were kosher, good to eat. Let's read and see what God has to say. Yes, sir. Will you want to start?
No.
What was your question?
I didn't have a question.
Oh, just doing your hair. Okay, let's start on the inside. Maggie, would you read verse 12, and then we'll shoelace back and forth on the inside and outwards in the shoelace.
If you pay attention to these laws and are careful to follow them, then the Lord your God will keep his covenant of love with you, and he swore to your ancestors.
Okay, Jason.
He will love you and bless you and increase your numbers. He will bless the fruit of your womb, the crops of your land, your grain, new wine and olive oil, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you.
Did y'all hear any animals mentioned there?
Yeah.
Let me go back and read those first two right quick. And because you listen to these rules and keep and do them, the Lord your God will keep with you the covenant and the steadfast love that he swore to your fathers. He will love you, bless you, and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your ground, your grain and your wine and your oil, the increase of your herds and the young of your flock in the land that he swore to your fathers to give you. Verse 14.
You will be blessed more than any other people. None of your men or women will be childless, nor will any of your livestock be without young.
The Lord will keep you free from every disease. He will not inflict on you the horrible disease you knew in Egypt, but he will inflict them on all who hate you.
You must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God gives over to you. Do not look on them with pity, and do not serve their gods, for that will be a snare to you.
Okay, so they're going into this promised land. Are the people that are living there godly people?
No.
So these people, what do they worship?
Idols.
Idols. And he's saying, when you go in there, you've got to destroy these people. He said, don't look on them with pity. Destroy them. Because why? Is it because God's a mean God?
Because they'll tempt them.
Yeah.
And to do
There'll be a snare, like a trap for God's people. And he's trying here to show himself to all peoples on earth. He knows that the people living in the land of Canaan, their hearts are gone. They have turned completely away from God. So if his people move into the land and they start marrying them and making friends with them, what's that going to do to God's people? To their hearts? It's not good. It's bad company. It's going to turn their hearts. So he says, don't have pity on them. You're going to want to. Don't. We've got to get rid of the evil that's in this land. Okay? All right, keep going.
Okay. You may say to yourself, these nations are stronger than we are. How can we drive them out?
Oh, is that?
18.
But do not be afraid of them. Remember well that the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. You saw with your own eyes the great trials and the miraculous signs and wonders, the mighty hand and outstretched arm which the Lord your God brought out to you.
And it's still going.
Oh, the Lord your God will do the same to all the peoples in Yahweh. Moreover, the Lord your God
will send the hornet among them until even the survivors who hide from you have perished.
What will God send among them?
Our
A hornet. What does a hornet do? You already know that. You haven't even researched it. Okay, it stings, right? And when a hornet goes for you, it's like it's coming after you. It's not going to give up. It's determined. Okay? So last verse, verse 21. Yeah, I think it is.
Do not be terrified by them, for the Lord your God who is among you is a great and awesome God.
Okay. Before you close your Bible, look back through that passage, and I want you to notice all the places that animals of any kind are mentioned. And then write those in your journal right quick. Of any kind of animal.
What, any kind of animal?
That we just read in those few verses. So like we read hornet, we know a hornet was in there, so you can put that down in your journal. Did you see that herds, young calves?
Lambs.
What else? What'd you say, Curtis?
Lambs.
Lambs. Did y'all see lamb in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that you saw in there, write that down.
Just write it down?
Yeah, just write the animal that you heard or saw in there.
Actually, that's about it.
And when you do this, I want you to put either a plus or a minus beside it. If it's going to be a plus for God's people, put a plus. If it's going to be a minus for God's people, put a minus. So, yes, sir.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Can you hang on just a little bit? If you need, no, go ahead. You sure
That'd
it's
be
not
awful.
Okay, so Zane, if you had a what?
Get a herd of hornets falling you everywhere.
Ooh, except a hornet, it's not usually called a herd of hornets.
A pack or
Whatever it's called. I need a swarm. It'd be a swarm, wouldn't it? Okay, so Zane, name an animal, and was it mentioned in a positive or negative way for God's people?
The hornet, and it was positive.
It was positive for God's people. Who was it negative for?
They're bad.
The enemy.
The enemy, the people that were living in the land who were godless people, who turned their back on God, right? Another animal, Abigail? A calf. Positive or negative for God's people? Positive for God's people. What was he going to do with the calf? It's okay. If somebody else knows where it is, that's fine too. Was he going to bless them with their herds, with their livestock, with their calves? Okay, so there were going to be plenty of birds, and they were all going to be healthy, right? Anything else you noticed in there? Was there any negative for God's people?
No.
Look back at the very first verse, verse 12 that we read. Why were there not going to be negatives for God's people in this situation? Judd?
Pay attention to the laws he gave you.
Yeah, because they're paying attention to God's ways, right? And so as long as they're paying attention to God's ways and they're striving to do what's right in God's eyes, then there's going to be blessings on God's people. Is that true for us these days? Is that true for us, Zach? That there are blessings found in God? Celine, does that mean everything's perfect in your life? Does that mean if you're doing what's right, God's just going to send money your way? No. It's not, that's not what blessing is. God knows what blessing is to you, and he will send it into your life. You just follow and walk with him. Let's close. Oh, sorry, Jason. All right, close your Bibles and your journals. And who has not paid going away. Did your hand quite and prayed recently? Do you mind praying first today?
Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for science, and just please help us to learn something new today. And please help it to be a good day today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is a really quick review of lobsters. Okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to label the parts that are on this paper. We're going to label them on our lobster. So you come and grab, oh, by the way, if your insect paper is on your desk, you better put it in your green floppy binder. Okay, come grab a lobster, and I'll make sure that every table has one of these lists. If you'll open your book, there's actually a diagram of a lobster in your book. Can we use it? You can. And then I'm going to put another one up here on the front. 178.
Page 178?
Page 178. Where you find that diagram. Okay. Okay, 170.
Oh, we were supposed to draw a
No, you didn't have to draw. No, you didn't have to draw.
You're going to line.
Okay. So here we go. This up so it won't be out in the way. And what was this up to? No, I don't know. Is this good? Okay, I have it next. Okay. No, he's leaving for basketball. But he'll swing by. If you see him in the hall, y'all tell him. He can run back by.
No one will do that. Just that you live in 215.
Something happened. I don't know. I don't know if it's 245 or 215. We'll see. Okay. All right, guys. So get your books out and turn to page 178. And I'm going to put a couple of diagrams up here to help you. There are, so if you've got your book, go to 178. It'll help you. It'll help you label.
I forgot.
Are you getting sick, Sam?
I almost forgot to turn in my. I think he's getting sick.
That's another day.
I'll be in.
Late.
We had to go to it's an airport.
And I'm not counting it late. All right, so 178, start noticing there are 14 things you're going to label. Some of them are on the belly side, the underside of this lobster. So you just draw an arrow and kind of show where it would be. Okay? Also, I am going to put some of these diagrams up here for you. We're just going to do this. We're going to take about 5 or 6 minutes to do this, and then we're going to move on. Talk about insects today. Ooh. I know. Come on. Beans. Okay, here's one with lobster. Yeah, here's a good one right here. Y'all see? Yeah. Notice that the antennas are the big ones, antennules are the smaller. On there, these two claw-looking things are both chili pads, but one of them is for what?
Crushing.
Crushing. Which one is that?
The thick one.
The biggest and thickest one. And then the other one is for
Pinching.
pinching. Okay? We've got some lobsters have, like the spiny lobsters we saw the other day, have how many pair of walking legs?
4,
5 pair. These guys actually have 4 pair of walking legs, and then they've got these claws. On the spiny lobster, that would have been another pair of walking legs. The tailson is where on the tail? But the tailson is the one that's the very middle one, and the 2 sides are the uropods. Swimmerettes, you can't see it on there, but draw an arrow to show where they'd be. I was going to show y'all a better picture of a carapace. Let me see if I can find. Well, it's in your book, actually.
It's on the bottom.
In your book on page 178, notice what part of the back is the carapace on the lobster. On your test, I'm going to give you a diagram just like this to label. So this is practice. By the way, what phylum does a lobster belong to?
Crustaceans. Insects? No.
Arthropods.
Arthropods. Phylum, arthropods. Class, what? Crustacea. You have your hands up, or you just stretching? Stretching? You stretching? Yeah.
So, you don't know what time we're getting out?
Everything said
We're getting out at 2:45.
2:45, but then Miss Lafreniere sent someone down here during study hall that said 2:15. So I guess it's up for, we'll see. One
We
way or
wouldn't
the
leave at 2:15.
What's that call you guys?
other. Yeah, maybe in between. Zach, did your head hurt and you were just feeling tired?
Is he burning up?
Super moving. You're getting achy though?
It's water.
You want some water?
If you got sick, then somebody else here probably has it.
It's just everybody, we are dropping like flies. Okay, all right, a few more minutes. Come on up here and you can look a little closer, because it is hard.
So we don't have a line.
Mandibles, like if you have the actual animal in front of you, mandibles are closer down to where its mouth is, because it's kind of like their teeth. They grind their food. So these are the mandibles, but on that you can't see that underneath, so you just draw some arrows. You know that those are all mouth parts.
So we don't have a live arthropod bed.
I have that thing in my refrigerator. It's not live, it's the dead one.
What about that one? Did you take him back?
The other one, yes, Ethan's dad came and picked him up. That was pretty cool. You're hungry for a live one?
Why is it in your fridge?
Do you know what? God would say, that is not clean food. Don't eat it
Wait, seriously?
with its life's blood in it. Even though its blood is clear and not red like ours, don't eat it with its life's blood in it.
So if you were to like put it over and with water,
It would look like
It would
just
look
water.
clear. Yeah.
So that's what leaks onto the desk?
No, I think because, no, that one had been in my refrigerator over the weekend, and I don't
is that
know.
why his arm fell off?
I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good.
I bet your house stunk.
No, I didn't it was in this one. The
He's like,
entire
no, it's
school
in the
smelled
driveway.
bad. Okay, all right, guys. So, count, make sure that you have got all 14 things on your lobster. You might go ahead I didn't have you number it, but why don't you do that to check yourself? So, number 1 is the what?
Abdomen.
Where do you
But do
find
you
the
have to number
abdomen?
it in order?
Yeah. Number 1 is the abdomen, and where is that located? Touch the abdomen on your drawing. Basically the tail, right? Okay. Then number 2 is the antennae, the big ones, the big antennae. And what do those antennae have? Like, what are they for?
Touch.
A sense of touch. It's a sensory organ for a lobster. Number 3 are the antennules. They can taste and smell. They're right in the middle. Number 4, the carapace. What is the carapace? It's right there on your paper. So what's the carapace? It's right behind where the head looks like it's attached. Okay. Then the chili pods. There's more than one, right? One chili pod is what kind of claw? Crusher. The other chili pod is a pincher. Okay. All right. Then number 8. Eyes. Those are pretty obvious. What kind of eyes do lobsters have? Compound eyes, right? They do. They have compound eyes. They do. And then what about the mandible? You can't see it, but it's one of the whats?
Mouth parts.
One of the mouth parts. You have to kind of draw an arrow that shows it's underneath here. What do they use mandibles for?
Eating.
Feeding. But what is the job of them?
Grinding their food.
They grind up their food like our teeth do. Okay? When we dissect a grasshopper, that's how you're going to know what mouth part is the mandible, because it's hard like a tooth. Okay? Ew. Moving on, what about...
Excuse the interruption, but at this time, please release the seniors who will be attending the trial service. And please make sure that you exit from central office and check out with me, please. And also the tennis team as well. Thank you.
Wait, what is it?
One of the seniors' dads passed away.
Oh, that's why they're all dressed up.
Right. Maxillipeds, guys. What are the maxillipeds used for?
I don't know.
Tasting. Well, they're not really. It's actually kind of like fingers for them. They pull the food in with their maxillipeds. Okay? So, but they are mouth parts. So you draw an arrow where they would go underneath. Okay, let me see what the next one is. Okay, the periopods, but we're talking walking legs here. So on this Maine lobster, this American lobster, how many pair?
4.
4 pair on this one. Okay, what about the pleopods? Those are known as what? Swimmerettes. Where are they, Zane? Under the abdomen, and almost to the end here. What about the telson? We already said, but where is it?
The tail.
But where on the tail?
The middle.
The very middle piece of the tail, and then the uropods are found where? Around them, around the telson on both sides. Okay, write your name on that, and that is going to be yours to keep. Okay? I do need this paper back, so let's pass those up this direction, and I will actually get you one of these so you can have it for the test. What? You're going to be labeling a lobster like this. Yes.
She's going to give us one of those.
Yeah. Yes. But that's yours to keep. You can number it next time. Okay? All right. So put that also in the front pocket of your green floppy binder. Okay. And let's see.
Hey,
Yeah, I got it. books, guys. We are going to read about insects today, and then we're going to start watching this cool video. It's cool because of all the things that you learn from it. It's kind of an old, like classic video, the kind that probably your grandparents watched when they were in school. Like the tone of voice and the way it describes this city of bees. But the cool thing about it is you are going to learn so much about how a community of bees works. And it's kind of like a community of people. It's amazing, and it shows you a lot about God's design, even when it comes to instinct in the animals He made. But let's go first to page, all my papers mixed up here. Head in your books to page 187. 187. Yes, sir. We're not going to make like a whole, like, this guy go, this guy go, this guy go.
180 what?
187. And I think what we're going to do, I need everyone to grab a whiteboard, eraser, and a dry erase marker. You look like you're not 100%.
Yes.
Jason's a nice guy. He doesn't like me.
No, Jason.
$10 is
$10 says
You got $10.
no, wait, Curtis.
I got you.
I can't give you $10 because he already stole my $10.
Alright, I see.
He's nice to everyone.
Alright, let's read quick. So the way we're going to do this is I'll start reading with you guys following along, and periodically I'm going to pause, ask a question, and that one's supposed to Okay, ready? Following along? Are you writing on your board until I ask the question?
No.
No, so push that board to the side, mark it to the side so you won't get in trouble for that. And let's read 187, follow along. So which weighs more? This is a dumb question. Which weighs more, insects or people?
I think people.
Let's hope.
Insects, I'm not quite sure.
The last time I stepped on a bug, it was me that weighed more than it. But who knows? If you compare the total weight of the world's insects to the total weight of the world's people, insects weigh a lot more.
Really?
So individually, you weigh more than an insect, but if you put all the world's insects together and weighed them, and all the people together and weighed them, which one weighs more? Which group? Why is that?
Because there's so many.
There's so many. The largest group of animals on Earth, or any living thing, actually is arthropods, this group. So, of course they would weigh more. So that's because the total mass of insects may be as much as 300 times the total mass of all people on Earth. Uh-oh. So I suggest putting your markers down, like everybody. I want to
He's erasing it.
I'm
markers.
trying to erase this.
Markers in the green box. I don't care. I don't want to see you fiddling. So markers in the green baskets. So let's get it over here. And he will put the lid on it because it will not go right out. Okay. All right. That'll keep you from getting in trouble. Okay, so here we go. So God's world is home to an amazing variety of insects. The longest insect is the walking stick of Borneo. The Natural History Museum in London has a walking stick specimen that measures 56.7 centimeters long. You can't really imagine that unless you have a meter stick in front of you. You grab a meter stick and we'll see.
That's a lot.
57.
Okay, so here is the beginning. Okay, so this walking stick would be from finger to finger. That's a big bug. Big bug.
You could ride that.
Yeah, you could.
They're harmless.
It's bigger than your shoes.
Bro, imagine if you're sleeping and you're crawling.
Okay, here we go. So, moving on. Eyes on your paragraph there. The Goliath beetle of equatorial Africa is the heaviest insect at 100 grams. And the smallest insect is the fairy fly wasp, which is 1/5 of a millimeter.
That's really small.
Okay, so you know all these tiny marks, those are millimeters, right? So imagine cutting that into 5 pieces. One of those is a fairy fly wasp.
How do they even like exist?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
You might not see it, you can feel it.
I wonder on average how many people sleep. Wait, how much does a Goliath beetle weigh? They just open their mouth, boom, 100 grams.
100 grams? What's a
Curtis, when you get the
I don't know. I'll look that up.
how many grams is it?
Administrator.
I don't know those. I mean, there is a way to convert that, but I don't have it in my mind.
Would it be
So,
hard to pick it up?
Administrator.
an ounce is more than a gram. So I'm not sure.
How many people do you think on average swallow one of those bugs like daily?
Oh, probably a lot. Can you imagine if you're riding your bicycle?
You just try to
And
breathe.
you're like singing?
Yeah, mouthful of
Why would you be singing?
Who sings on your bike?
Oh,
It's like Mary Poppins.
Okay, here we go. High School Musical. All right, guys, Tally Rambo, don't make it happen. So, entomologists are scientists who study insects, and they have identified over 900,000 species of insects, organisms that are classified in class Insecta. Scientists believe that there may be as many as 30 million species that have not even been discovered yet.
That's
I
redundant.
feel like they just made that up.
yeah. How would they know if they
That's,
don't?
well, but it's an educated guess. It's like a hypothesis.
But they could be off by millions.
They could be. 30 million, that gives them a lot of room to play with, right? Okay, so guys, on your board, I want to see the name of the scientist that studies insects. Not the person, but the type of scientist. Perfect. Oh, boy. Perfect. Lots of bosses in this room. What kind of scientist studies insects? Entomologist. Okay. Markers back in your basket, and here we go. So insects have how many body segments?
3.
3, which would be, we know this already, a what? Thorax and abdomen. So the insect's head is formed from many hard plates called sclerites. Are you getting that? All those hard plates on an insect's head are called sclerites. These plates join together to form a solid casing that houses the insect's eyes. Insects have 2 types of eyes. Their simple eyes help them focus on objects. And their compound eyes do what?
Can move.
Detect movement. Did you know that insects have 2 pair of eyes?
Yeah.
They
Pairs of
have
eyes?
simple eyes, and some of them only have 1 simple eye. Simple eye, and then they've got their compound eyes. Kind of cool.
Exactly.
They're what?
Noobs.
Noobs.
Zach says that could be
Okay. Here we go. So the number of details an insect can see depends on the number of facets or ommatidia in the eyes. Ommatidia are the parts that make up an insect's compound eyes. So every little lens that you see on here is called a what? I think you can do better than that. Ommatidia. Say that. Ommatidia. Every time you see a new hexagon, you're looking at a different ommatidia. Okay?
Could we call them quesadillas?
Maybe some quesadillas that Oma likes.
Would you want to eat them?
Oma likes quesadillas.
Okay, here we go. So houseflies have about 4,000 ommatidia, and dragonflies have 28,000. Some insects, such as ants that live in dark places, have no ommatidia. These insects rely on what?
Sight.
Nope.
Smell.
Smell instead of sight. Insects also have one pair of antennae which they use to feel and to smell. Okay, guys.
Oh my goodness.
So in compound eyes, every facet, every lens there is called what? Write that on your board. Write that on your board. No problemo. Let me see if you spelled it right. Perfect. Oh, perfect.
Oh, I'm
awesome. Awesome. And it's what, guys?
Oma likes quesadillas.
Okay. All right. Let's keep rolling. So insects, guys, follow along, or we won't even have time to get to the city of bees. So insects have 3 pair of legs, and most have 1 or 2 pair of wings. Are you hearing that? Some have 1 and some have 2 wings, 2 pair on the thorax. Flies, for example, have only 1 pair of wings. Many ants and other simpler insects do not have any wings at all. The wings of most insects are laced with veins that allow blood to flow through the wings. Insects also have flying muscles inside their bodies to enable them to beat their wings. The flying muscles are attached to the walls of the thorax. These muscles give insects incredible flying power. For example, large winged butterflies flap their wings 5 to 12 times per second. Mosquitoes, get this, beat their wings up to how many times per second? Good grief.
I hate mosquitoes.
600 times. And that buzz that they make, what do you think it's from? The wings, 600 times per second? That's crazy.
That's not very
going too fast.
I don't think God designed it that way. So, guys, listen, those wings create the high-pitched whine that you hear when a mosquito flies close to your ear. So next time a mosquito comes by, be sure and share that you know where that noise is coming from. People may not believe it.
Ask the mosquito.
He's draining your blood. You're saying, hey, that noise he makes is coming from his wings.
And then it just falls over.
Okay, here we go. Most insects, listen to me, Hunter, eyes on the book. So most insects do not fly faster than 32. Why do they always do kilometers per hour?
Because this is science.
It's science. But for us, we could relate to miles per hour. Although, I don't know. It's close though.
64.
Don't know. Although dragonflies have been clocked at 58 kilometers per hour. I need to find these things out. Okay, insects' mouth parts vary widely depending on their use. Insects that eat other insects have what for grinding?
Teeth.
Nope, they're like teeth. Mandibles for grinding. A mosquito has a mouth part that pierces skin and injects a substance that prevents blood from clotting. Why do you think they'd want to do that?
So they can suck it off.
So they can suck it out. Normally, when you get a cut or a scrape, what forms on the outside? A scab. That's from the blood clotting, and it keeps you from bleeding to death. Right? But a mosquito, God gave them a chemical to inject right where they bit you so the blood doesn't start clotting.
For why?
So they can eat it, because that's what
Eat
they eat.
our blood.
Eat our blood. I mean, they won't take all of it. They don't take some of
Don't they kill more people a year than people?
But not because of the blood they're taking.
Wait, what?
It's because of the diseases.
I'm counting all his eyeballs.
Eat a cow to a kill.
No, I mean, a mosquito is tiny, right? So it feels right. Okay, wait. Let's don't get sidetracked. Hold on. So, a butterfly, hang on. A butterfly has a long tube to suck nectar from flowers. Insects also have varied diets. For example, flies eat blood, nectar, plant sap, and the liquid from rotting organic matter. Yum. Like our lobster. They would have a heyday with that lobster. Butterfly larvae eat leaves, and adult butterflies eat nectar. Mosquitoes eat what? Blood. Okay, my question is, why do mosquitoes have varied, or why is there variety in their mouth parts? It's there. Why do insect mouth parts vary widely? Use your head on this one. It's not word for word. Just use your head. Perfect. Perfect. Yep. Use your head.
Wait, is it
Use your head.
Mosquitoes.
Oh, mosquitoes are insects. It's all kinds of insects. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Gotcha. I want to see everybody's. Yep. I want to see everybody's answer because I can't see yours. Yep. If I'm not sure what that second letter is. Is that an I? Okay. And not an answer. I want to know why you think their mouth parts are different. You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
I see the diet.
So why, guys, why are their mouth parts so different?
Because of their diet.
Their diets are different. A butterfly needs different, listen. A butterfly needs different mouth parts than a mosquito, and a mosquito needs different mouth parts than a grasshopper. It depends on what they eat. Their mouth parts suit their diet. Yes.
So I've been trying to count all the little eyeballs on the fly, and I'm at 536.
So what are those called?
What?
What are those called? Each little dot?
Almatidia.
Almatidia. Okay, so here we go. And insects, go back, put your markers up. And an insect, where do those markers go to? Just keeping y'all out of trouble. An insect's abdomen is its longest part. It's what is its longest?
Abdomen.
Abdomen, this is the back of it. It's flexible and it contains the trachea. Where's your trachea?
In my throat.
In your throat. Where is the mosquitoes and all of these insects? Where's their trachea? In their abdomen. How weird is that? It is a tube that carries air so the insect can breathe. Each section of the insect's abdomen has a pair of openings, kind of like You have a pair of openings right here to get air in. They have openings on their abdomen, and they're called spiracles, that allow the oxygen that the insect breathes in through its trachea to get to all the insect's organs and tissues. Carbon dioxide also exits through its spiracles. So here we go. Guys, you have nostrils to get your oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. What do insects have? Write it down. You have nostrils, they have. Perfect. And then also tell me where they are located on the insect.
Ooh, I know this one.
I
got you,
Perfect.
Sam.
You are all family.
I'm gonna get it on. Yeet.
Perfect. Okay. So they have what?
Spiracles on their abdomen.
On their abdomen.
Spiritual.
Hey guys, when we dissect the grasshopper, which is probably next week, you will locate its spiracles. So you'll find out where it does its breathing.
Do we get to dissect the shark?
No, that's freshman year. Freshman year.
Boy,
you actually get to dissect the shark? I got to dissect the
Freshman
shark
year.
when I was
But I don't know what flat. I don't know if it's like 8 feet.
Wait, is it
Might even
like
be
an actual
anatomy.
shark? Yes.
A baby shark. A baby shark.
I thought you were gonna
Like every person.
Okay, guys. Eyes on me. Eyes on me, and when your eyes are on me, automatically it's like this machine. Eyes go zzz, and the mouth has to go zzz. Okay? You're like a robot that way. Alright, here we go. So the life cycles of most insect species are very similar. After mating, female insects lay hundreds or thousands of fertilized eggs. That's why there's so many of these things. The eggs then, wait a minute, the eggs then undergo metamorphosis, which is a series of changes that transform an egg into an adult. This is such an easy question. What are those changes that transform an insect egg, Zane, into an adult?
Eggs.
What is that called?
I keep trying to write on my board with a pencil.
Celine, I think I am going to go grab a card. Add a card. You are all over this.
That's just
Awesome, awesome. So, what is it called, guys? Okay. Alright, let's keep going then. There are two kinds of metamorphosis. There is complete metamorphosis, which includes 4 stages: the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. The egg hatches into a larva, which, look at, you know what, while I read, look at that butterfly cycle down there, okay? It's complete metamorphosis, and watch what happens. Okay, so, go to the egg first and touch the egg. So then it hatches into a what? Larva. So the larva eats and grows until it becomes a what? A pupa, not a pupa. A pupa. The pupa stage can last how long?
Adult.
No?
Oh my God. 4 days to several months.
4 days to several months. The insect does not eat, obviously, when it's inside the pupa, right? Some insects, such as moths and butterflies, form either a cocoon or a chrysalis during their pupa stage. The pupa finally emerges as a what?
Adult.
An adult. So look back at that cycle. Adult. Look at that cycle. Touch the egg. The egg hatches a what? Pupa. Larva. The larva eats and eats and eats and becomes a pupa. And then the pupa, does the pupa eat? How long can it be a pupa?
I like
4 days to several months, and then when it hatches, it is an adult. What kind of metamorphosis is this? Complete. Every single stage. So, since it goes through every single stage, I feel sorry for y'all. Super sorry. Because those of you right now that are looking across the room rather than looking at your paper, maybe not even being on the correct page, are going to be at a serious disadvantage when we take our test in a few weeks. Make sure you're on the right page and looking at the picture of complete metamorphosis, which is a page back. But I told y'all to look at the side, right? Okay, so you have complete metamorphosis. Before I read about incomplete metamorphosis, take a look at it. So, do you have as many stages for incomplete?
Yeah.
Definitely not. What do you have? An egg, a nymph, and an adult. So the whole time this insect is growing, it never looks any different than it's going to look when it's an adult. It just gets bigger. That's incomplete. It still changes because it grows, and there is an egg, so there's some changes, but it's incomplete metamorphosis. Look at the picture on that page, and I'm going to turn my page and read about it. Hold your horses. All of them. Hold on. Is it emergency? Okay, then put your hand down and hang on. So, incomplete metamorphosis includes 3 stages: the egg, the nymph, and the adult. The eggs of crickets and grasshoppers, for example, hatch into nymphs. Nymphs, Brady, are young insects that look like miniature adults without wings. The nymphs grow into adults. Okay, guys, grab your boards. Make a T-chart. Make a T-chart on your board. T-chart.
I don't know what a T-chart is.
Looks like a T. Make a T on your paper. Okay? And up above one side of the T, I want you to write complete metamorphosis. The other side is for incomplete metamorphosis. How many stages does complete metamorphosis have? 4. So go ahead and list out your 4. Don't write just number from 1 to 4 on that side. And then how many stages does incomplete have? 3. So number from 1 to 3 on the incomplete side. Don't write them yet, just number. 1 to 4 on complete, and 1 to 3 on incomplete. Now go back and list the stages of complete and then incomplete.
So, Krista, Red said she said I'm asking you, are you serious?
What kind of math question? It's just, can we tell, is this algebra? Can we not really?
That can help.
No.
Okay, tell her that right now I'm in the middle of a class, so tell her that we might, maybe she can come to me in between and I'll give it a shot. Okay? All right. Okay, so... All right, let me hear the stages of complete, Brady. Complete metamorphosis is what?
Egg, larva, pupa, adult.
Perfect. And guys, there are some animals like moths and butterflies in that pupa stage. What do they have around them?
Chrysalis.
Chrysalis or a cocoon. Okay. All right, now incomplete metamorphosis. You are so good, Judd.
That's a call.
I know it. You have answered so many questions. That's for real. But Preston, incomplete metamorphosis. Let me hear.
Egg,
Uh-oh, save lives.
That's half a card.
And he lost his card.
That's half a card.
Egg nymph egg nymph and adult.
Okay, egg nymph adult. That's incomplete. Okay, everybody with me on page 190. The picture of the bees there. Here we go. Put your markers back in your basket and you can erase real quick. Okay. So the reason that City of the Bees is so cool is because they are social insects and they truly build something like a city. They've got queens, they've got workers, they've got all kinds, not just those two. They're amazing with the jobs that they do for the community. So here we go. So many insects are social insects. They stay close to their own species and work together in a group. Termites, which eat wood, have a social structure made up of 3 different kinds of individuals. They have workers, they have soldiers, are you getting this? Who defend their colonies. And, just read. And a few who are solely responsible for reproducing. They've all got jobs. The known species of honeybees are also social insects. Honeybees are divided into queens, drones, and workers. Queens lay the eggs, drones mate with the queens, and worker bees do most of the colony's work. Ants, oh my goodness, here's the deal. I shouldn't have to say every single time you come in this class, you've got to bring the mature you. Because what class is this? Science. So gentlemen, what kind of you has to come to science? The mature you. If you don't bring the mature you, then you're setting yourself up for some sad and embarrassing consequences. So pull the mature you out. And if you have to read a word like mating, you got to read it with the mature you and get over it. This is God's design. So here we go. All right. So a colony of ants usually consists of one queen ant, and get this, this is one colony, 150,000 to 700,000 worker ants. Soldier ants are males with enlarged heads and powerful mandibles. What do you think? What are mandibles used for? Grinding food. In an ant, it's going to have something to do with that being their weapon. They're going to grind up the enemy. Ants are the only known animals, listen to this, that domesticate other animals. For example, some ant species tend to protect herds of aphids, like they were their puppies or something. When you domesticate an animal, that means it can live with you and around you. Like cattle are domesticated. Puppies, dogs, domesticated. Cats, domesticated. Any animal that lives around a species like us, humans, is considered domesticated. Okay, so here we go. Hold on. So the ants will milk the aphids by stroking them with their antenna, like we milk cows, right? So they milk aphids. How weird is that? Which causes the aphids to produce a sweet liquid, and the ants eat it. Ants sometimes enslave other ants and force the slaves to collect food from them.
Go get me some
Same questions till we finish this, because we're almost done. Some people think that all insects are pests, but insects do much more good than harm. Only about 1% of all known insect species are considered pests. Insects are a very important part of God's world. In fact, People could not live without them. Without insects, I skipped something. Insects pollinate most flowering plants, including crops. Without insects, these plants would not produce. Insects break down dead organisms and waste products. They till, which is kind of like plowing, they till and aerate, which means bring air to the soil, and are food for many animals. Insects provide products such as silk and honey. Even medicine has found a use for insects. Get ready for grossness. Doctors use maggots, which is fly larvae, to clean out deep-rooted infections.
I'm never doing that. Where am I?
the maggots are the little tiny white squirmy
Okay, guys. We do not have time to start the bee thing, so what I'm going to do is I need you to pull out a paper and I need you to answer those 3 questions right there. No, you can do it on your own. So grab a piece of paper. Can it be ripped and nasty?
No.
It's got to be turned in.
Can't be nasty.
Can't be nasty. You gotta take pride in your work.
Zoom time.
Curtis, are you Dude, average.
Guys, on number one, you are going to have to draw on the knowledge that you already have. Because it is saying draw means like pull out. Draw on the knowledge. No. Hunter. Alright, so you got to go back and you got to think about what you already know about the body structure of other animals that are arthropods. So an insect has how many body parts? 3. Are any of them fused?
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
They're separate. They don't have a cephalothorax, right? What were you asking about? Then insect. Well, this is asking about insects. You're asking others. They have the same body parts, but some of them are fused. Like this and then mirror.
We do L on 191.
Yes. I do not have to have complete sentences on this. I just want your answers.
Beautiful.
That's kind of never healthy. Never know. Everybody's getting it right now. So I would get everybody.
What does it mean?
Three water pieces.
Yeah, we have Wait, I'll look through the iPad. Shows what it looks like.
Right, but I don't even know it's a forward. I don't know what it's doing, what it's supposed to be doing right now. It lost connection.
No, I lost connection.
Oh, they wanted you to see what compound eyes were like, and so we're going to see if this works. I brought these glasses today. Can you tell?
Nod or something.
Can you tell? Zach, can you tell anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Wait, look, ready.
Hey, Sydney. Okay, y'all ready? Zach.
Whoa.
Watch the City of Bees, and we will it's a cool video, even if it is old.
What does it mean, structure, for number 2? What structure mean?
The structure's how it's put together. Turn it one body part. Yeah, make sure you got it. Oh, you can't turn that one yet, because you ripped it out. I warned y'all not to rip it out. You're going to have to do it right quick on a piece of paper whose edge is neatly. Make sure your title is what, guys?
Good old times, but boy, you couldn't.
Wait, so not like the golden
It's in there. But it is in there. Boom, guys.
Alright, everyone, I got it already.
That's a weak kick line.
What? We did that. I did.
Yeah, sort of. The eyeball.
Brady, give me a line.
Okay, so I'm checking paper edges, same. Come and fix yours. When it gets turned in, it needs to look neat. Taking pride in your work.
Like 10 minutes.
Oh, Brady, I have no idea what paper this is.
That's for the page number?
Gotta have the page number. Perfect.
What page number is it? Please release all
Don't leave here unless you've got everything put up. Make sure you got Jason. Don't forget to put up all of your those books.
I mean, I'm shit at your Earl. Yeah.
You're Jenny.
Earl.
You're Ariel.
I love that.
Oh, really good at
I would not say that because bro, Dylan, it's just us, right?
Jimmy.
It's just us. Well, Jimmy, it's just us.
Jimmy.
There's Jimmy.
Me.
He's Jimmy. Jimmy's my Jimmy.
Yeah.
What this kid says, he says. Jimmy. Do I have a nickname, Jimmy?
No.
Why not, Jimmy? Jimmy, I'm telling Earl Connors, and then if it's Earl's my partner.
You can talk to Earl about that. My strong recommendation is regulars because of what'll happen. You'll go in and you'll think, yeah, and then you'll be like, oh no, I hate science now. I don't want you to hate science.
Yeah, I'm probably never gonna hate it because I'm trying to be a vet and stuff. So I just, but you still have to.
Let me see what.
You know what? I got you through the video and past the video.
Now what? So you got me the whole time?
Well, I don't know when. I mean, because there's a 20-second delay, even if you get it the whole time, I don't know what you did last. I had you on mute. But, I'm sorry. I know the video was on there.
So I don't know what happened, but I do know that was not showing anything.
Okay. Well, the majority of the class is on there.
Good. Okay.
And I can hear you much better because I turned the volume up on the iPad.
Yeah, because I guess the phone thing didn't.
No, it didn't work. It was wanting something that
Okay. So it was fine. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Hey, I was trying to do this thing with a phone app so that Kara could wear the mic around her neck from the iPhone, and it wanted login information. I don't know what it wanted, but anyway, I went back to the iPad because I couldn't get a hold of your dad either. So I guess it worked okay. But he and I talked about if a teacher had it on their phone and walk around, because some teachers walk everywhere.
You also have on this. Just like a little, if a teacher connected it to their phone, basically it's just like a little lapel.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you plug that into your phone and then just click.
You can either leave them in there and I can grab them, but I've got to figure out how to connect the phone.
Yeah. You might ask him because it might be an account thing.
It is. I tried to connect it through the SOI account. Go to YouTube.
Probably.
So I got back on it and I gave it permission to go to that app just in case. But we need to work the kinks out of it.
Yeah, just let him know. He knows it better than I do. So.
Oh, today's a hectic day for him.
Yeah,
so.
sure. Yeah.
All right.
So do we have any junior high school parents?
The ones I report to were one going to 7th, the other one to church, one going to 8th, and two eighth graders. One going to 9th, the rest of the third grade. And then apparently there's another first grader with their parents for there was
Is that the largest one in Florida? I'm surprised they had it over there.
they had a banner and a big training Christian school stuff on the wall.
Good. Good job. Good deal. Okay. You okay?
I'm good. Just kind of
going.
looking at everybody going. I was kind of feeling like I can't make out hide in my office.
Right, I've been out and about.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
A big part of the kids are gone too.
They're gone. Yes.
Yeah.
They're
So
gone.
I've walked around a little few times.
Good.
So
Good.
okay.